Hi, guys. Welcome to the Daily Brew Podcast. I'm here with Nico O'Donnell, pitcher here at DST, former University of Texas baseball player, ended up transferring to Fresno State, went through the Pecos League. We'll get into that a little bit, and now just recently signed with the Sioux City Explorers. Nico, let's go ahead and just start off with talking about your baseball journey, man. Where did you start? And we'll end up kind of falling to where you ended up.
So, I'm a local guy, so I'm from Churchill High School, right down the road. So I found out about DST, but I was a Churchill dude. I went to University of Texas as a freshman. I was there for 2 years. And I'll give a little overview, but this is I went to 2 years Texas, went to Fresno for 2 years, 2 seasons in the Pecos League. Now I'm signed, but I can go into a little bit of how I got to Texas. I was a JUCO commit myself as a senior. So I went my whole...
Where were you committed?
I was going to Midland Junior College.
Really?
Yeah, out west Texas.
Nice,
yeah.
Dude. Ball flies there. You don't want to be a pitcher there.
I did one summer game out there at Midland, and I saw one ball get hit maybe like 550 feet.
Yeah.
And
I'm pretty sure the last time I played there, I hit a pop fly and it went out. I thought it was a pop up to the shortstop.
Midland, West Texas is wild. But I went my whole senior year committed to Midland. So I was home chaps all the way. And shout out to home chaps. But I was committed there. And then last minute, the draft happens my grad year, and a lot of spots opened up, and I ended up at UT. It was a great opportunity, and I got to see a lot of great things, a lot of good baseball. Just opened my eyes to like what baseball could be for me.
Heck yeah.
And kind of just almost excited me, but also humbled me in the same way, because it was a lot to take in.
What were you sitting like that senior year of high school, freshman year of college? What was your velo like?
So senior year going into like my senior year, whatever. I would say it was funny. The regular season, I was probably like 85, 88.
Yeah.
Maybe 89. And for some reason in playoffs, I don't know if it was adrenaline or whatever, but I was like, 88, 91. I think I touched my first like 93. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm throwing hard. I don't know what I'm doing, but it's coming in good. And I was filling up the zone with like 90, 91 probably that whole playoff run.
The playoff stretch your senior year?
Yeah.
How far did y'all go?
So my senior year, we went to the fifth round where we lost against Reagan twice, which is a heartbreaker. But I remember that was a really, really fun stretch of playoff games for us. It was loud, energetic.
Yeah.
And, it was something.
And then I'm kind of like going back in time a little bit more, but you also haven't we talked about like you starting baseball a little bit later? Is that true?
No, not me. I mean, if I did, I was more of a basketball guy growing up.
I think that's what we were talking about. You were playing other sports and stuff like that, and then you were also pretty involved in band as well.
I was a trumpet player. Yeah. But so I love music. I play guitar now, so it's kind of an interesting little side, activity.
Yeah.
But I was in band. I played basketball in like middle school. I wasn't very good.
Yeah.
But it was super fun.
Did you play a bunch of travel ball in high school or no?
I tried to, and then I kind of just started getting into baseball, and then I had basketball and baseball together, and I kind of just leaned towards baseball going into high school.
Yeah, I got you.
And, I know with like marching band and stuff, it's like super demanding. My sister did it, and they're just out there all day long. And, what is it? I was like, I'm gonna do baseball.
I'm gonna focus on baseball. I remember in my high school, my marching band was out there at like 5 a.m. in the morning. Dude, they won state like every year or something like that. It was crazy, but
a lot of people make fun of them, but dude, they work hard.
Yeah,
they're out there in the sun all the time. And they're not doing easy things too. They're moving.
Yeah, for sure.
But
well, tell me, get back to senior year. Ended up popping that 93 in playoffs, and then so how did that phone call or friendship initiation kind of start with UT?
Yeah, so my head coach at the end of my senior year, like I was just going into summer ball, he
Yeah.
just gives me a call. He's, hey, like, you want me to talk to some D1s for you? And in my head, I'm like, bro, like,
Yeah.
yeah, I want you to talk to some D1s, man. Like,
Heck yeah.
absolutely. And he was like, yeah, I got a few schools, and like UT was one of them. And what happened is I threw in some tournaments over the summer, and some of the coaches came out and saw me, and that's when that happened. And I was doing really well. I was filling the zone, and no, it was good.
What year was this? What year did you
This was
graduate? High school?
2017.
2017?
Yeah, so I guess it was like that summer.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when I did that.
I gotcha.
But yeah.
So they saw you pretty late then, huh?
Oh, dude, it was a late pickup. I
Yeah.
think I committed like July 4th.
Wow.
It was on July 4th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tell kids all the time, I'm like, kids panic like
Mhm.
senior year, and
Oh,
I'm
dude.
victim of that as well because I panicked in JUCO, and it ruined me. But I was like, dude, you'll literally sign you'll sign in July. You'll if school hasn't started yet, you got time.
It's never too late, man. Like you have more time than you think. And for
Yeah.
me, I've coached like a lot of like high school kids when I was up in Austin. I would tell them, dude, like just get some video of myself. And this is what I did. This is what I did. I got video of myself playing, a highlight tape, whatever you got to do, and just send it to all the junior colleges, man. Like send it to all those dudes. Because guess what? Word flies, and I mean,
For
that's
sure.
how I got in contact with a lot of schools. I just looked up their number or email, and I was just sending that stuff out.
Yeah. Whenever
And
I was playing, whenever I ended up getting recruited by Houston, it wasn't even my junior college coach that got the hookup. It was Coach Mitch Thompson over at McLennan.
okay.
Now he's at Baylor.
Yeah. Okay.
And Terry Rooney was their recruiting guy, or I guess he was the pitching guy, but he recruited me from Houston. And he was like, just hit me up and was like, hey, I heard about you from old Mitch over at McLennan.
Old Mitch.
And I'd love to come out and watch you play. And I just thought that was pretty cool. I mean, somebody who's not even my coach, but respected me, and I remember playing him all the time and shaking his hand and whatnot. But it was just kind of cool, like you said, like word travels fast, and a lot of those coaches at junior college are just they're great dudes, and they just want to get people to the next level for sure.
Yeah, no, it's good. If you can find a coach that's dedicated to getting to the next level, that's such a tremendous boost.
Yeah.
And I've had my fair share of guys, and like just being here and like the support I have here is like it's tremendous. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I contribute a lot of that, like what I have here to what I have gotten out there as far as just signing with Sioux City.
For sure.
Like a lot of the help is just I was kind of without direction as far as getting my own foot in the door.
Yeah.
And these guys
The
that
guidance
you included,
here. Yeah.
like was it trainers? We had pitching guys, Troy.
Yeah.
Not Troy. Trey. And, Trey and Jaden.
Yeah.
My bad.
You're good.
But yeah, no. It's if you can find someone like that, and that's why high school baseball is so important because just finding a head coach that's willing to put the work in to
promote you.
Yeah, it goes so far.
Yeah, for sure.
But
what is so at UT, did you play your freshman year? Or did you get redshirted or what happened?
So yeah, I came in hot. I started Tuesdays as
For real?
freshman. Yeah, I was doing pretty good.
Dang.
And like I had a pretty crazy fall and ended up in a non-conference spot. But I had a lot of cool experiences with that too. I mean, I faced a lot of cool teams like A&M, UTSA, Stanford, Emerson State, like a lot of pretty cool atmospheres, I'd say. And just being with that team, like we traveled a lot of places. I got to see a lot of big games. I mean, my first road trip as a collegiate player was to LSU.
Yeah, how sick is that?
Yeah, UT versus LSU. That was like 10,000 people just screaming at you. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I wanted to get back to and talk about was for me was I wasn't the hardest thrower like pitcher growing up and like going into high school. Like I was mostly a spots guy. I would just kind of hit spot, and I wasn't worried about the velocity until I got older.
Yeah.
And I think what happened as I got older, is I started throwing harder, and I started kind of losing that like mechanical precision
Yeah, and
as
that
far as
command.
like and I kind of got carried away with the velocity,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of kids kind of get into that, and that's kind of something I've come back into with like my mechanics now. I try to simplify everything.
Yeah, for sure.
So in high school, it was like that. I guess as like a senior, like I was very mechanically sound, and
Yeah.
I was just throwing because that's where my body was at that point. But as I got, like I said, as I got further down the road, like I just kind of got away from it.
Yeah, I think that like I've heard Trey talk to not only you but other people, and he's like, how effortless can you make that velocity? And it's like, you'll be throwing 94, and he's like, can you make it look even more effortless than that? And you're like, okay, let me try 94 again. And then he's like, okay, make it more effortless. And all of a sudden it just kind of syncs you up. But I like that piece of advice, especially for high school kids. It's just, being a student of the game and actually, learning how to not only like grow with velocity and with command, but you're trying to actually produce outs, you're trying to promote yourself, you're trying to be mechanically sound. And whenever you have guidance, obviously that's a lot easier. Whenever you have people like up here or good coaches or whoever you have that's helping you out, guide you through that process.
Yeah. Well, even like just when I first got here, it was like, yeah, you're going to be in the pro group, and you're going to be seeing a lot of like minor league dudes and like a couple major leaguers rolling through here.
Yeah.
Chucky Robinson, Jose Trevino, like you're just going to be seeing those dudes, and you see the example that's like set. And it's like, oh my gosh, like like that's something I can like look forward to, trying to replicate, I guess.
Yeah.
And even with like the pitchers too, like you see how like sound and almost like how clinical they are with like how they go about every little warm up exercise rep, and I think a lot of it like rubbed off on me. And
for sure.
Now I try to kind of when I coach, I try to, hey guys, how hard can you throw with the least amount of effort? And they start like, oh, okay, let me try that. And
I think one of the guys that pops in my mind automatically that's up here is just Ryan Jennings. He looks like he's not even trying.
No.
And the ball just jumps.
No,
it's insane.
He sits 96, and it's just like, looks like he's doing a short box.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, the dude's so strong, and he's worked, so hard at his craft. And he was on episode 1, and he talked, a ton about his journey and his career. And there's no doubt that the work ethic is there, but it's just so cool to see somebody like that, like just make it look so easy. It's awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a few dudes in here too. Like for me, like Chris Clark was like a big help.
Chris makes it look easy too.
Just like even as an example, but just like as a motivator too. Like dude would like hype me up and give me he would give me like spirit almost.
Yeah, he's an all around great guy, man. Yeah. He's a good dude.
But just being around that environment, I feel like just like helped me at least be more comfortable with like performing at that level, I guess.
Yeah.
And like performing with that type of like professional like appearance. And I think if you can get that started at a super young age, like when kids are in select ball and stuff, if you can try to implement that with examples, or even just as a kid, find a pitcher or a hitter that kind of resembles like your swing a little bit.
Yeah.
Even just that, just try
study
to
it.
See what they do.
For sure.
But yeah.
So what happened? What happened? Year 2 at UT, and then ended up transferring to Fresno State. So, how did you like Fresno State? How did you, what was going on whenever you left? That kind of stuff.
So I'll go back to freshman year. Start off as a starter at UT, and then halfway through ish was moved to the bullpen. Sophomore year was just a reliever, and that's kind of where I was getting into that, like, I'm starting to throw harder. I'm almost like building an addiction to like throw harder pretty much, and I kind of left some of the mechanics out of the way.
Yeah, for sure.
My sophomore year, the 2018 season, didn't have, or 2019 season.
Yeah, 2019
season. Wasn't so hot. We just had a lot of holes, and we kind of just didn't pick up the slack where we needed to.
Yeah.
And we struggled because of that. A lot of dudes struggled. But going into my junior year, that's when I transferred out. I went back to play with the Santa Barbara Foresters out in
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Me and you
California.
talked. Gosh, I forgot about that. Yeah,
Yep.
me and you talked about that because I was playing with the BJs,
Yep.
and we played y'all every year in the NBC World Series. I definitely played you.
Yeah.
I definitely played you.
Which
That's
is
kind of
crazy.
wild.
I've met like at least a handful of dudes that have been like at that tournament too. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, were you there in 2018? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
2019? Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. I was there. 2019 summer, 20 summer, and 21 summer. I'm pretty sure, like 3 years in a row. And so I probably played you in 29 because we played the Foresters every year.
Yeah.
And they're always insane.
Where was your team at again? It was
Liberal, Kansas.
Liberal, Kansas. Okay,
yeah, it was like the baby blue team, red, white, and blue, baby blue team.
Back.
Yeah.
But I guess going back to that, I threw in front of one of the coaches, I guess when I was in Santa Barbara before that tournament, and like what they saw, like 3 innings, like 24 pitches or something like that. Like it was pretty effective, pretty efficient, and got picked up. And it was definitely a change because I went from Power 5 to mid-major, but I mean a lot of the same components are there.
Yeah, for sure.
As far as just like facilities and just players. I mean, I had so much fun in Fresno. I didn't perform the way I wanted to.
Yeah.
But I had like so much. Like
Love the environment.
Some of my favorite memories are like from like just being with my boys, pretty much.
Yeah, for sure.
There. And yeah, I would say I was definitely happy to go. It was kind of scary though because I only had like 2 days to decide.
Really?
I didn't even go on a visit. I just blindly said yes, let's do it. It was the first D1 to reach out after the transfer.
Yeah.
And I was like, this might be my last one. I think I need to jump on this.
Yeah.
I don't care where it is. I don't care like who's there. I'm just gonna go for it.
Yeah. Ended up being a great decision for you. That's really cool. So I'm assuming which I didn't put 2 and 2 together, but I'm assuming Fresno State saw you because you were with the Foresters and the coaches helped you out over there.
Yeah. So my head coach with the Foresters, I guess, knew the head coach, and he's like, "Hey, this guy's trying to play ball somewhere." And I remember when I went back out there the second summer, and I was looking for a team. The Foresters coach, Pintard, told me, he was like, "Yeah, like I can find you a team, but it's probably gonna be in California."
Yeah.
And to me, I was like, "Whoa, like that's kind of a big jump." Like I mean, I've only done 2 years of school in Texas, but this might be a big leap of faith right here.
Yeah.
As far as how this is gonna end up, but
for sure, that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So what was the gap now between Fresno State and Pecos League? What was that?
So my junior year, that was I was actually told I was allowed to play going into my like D1 to D1 season, and in like November I got like a call from my head coach, and he said, "Hey, we got to talk because compliance just talked to me and they said you can't play." And I was like, "What?" Like I thought I could. Like we got permission from both sides, and both compliance offices said yes.
Yeah.
And we just assumed it was a go. And like towards the end of the fall, that's when I was just like, "Well, I guess I'm not playing this year."
Yeah.
And like what was kind of lucky for me was the worst way, but that's when COVID happened, and like the whole season just got
banged anyway.
Yeah, so it got banged. So like my whole red shirt deal just got wiped.
Yeah.
And going into, and this is where it's interesting, right? So I was still kind of on that like velocity train, right?
Yeah.
And I was going into my senior season over there. That's when I got up to 100 miles an hour, and I was super hyped about it. But I
tell the people about your training regiment during COVID, because I want to touch on this. This is awesome.
Yeah, so we've talked about this before. so COVID happens in like everyone's getting cut off in like March.
Yeah,
and we get sent home. I'm back in San Antonio, and my family, we don't know how like bad this COVID thing is. We have no clue if it's like super lethal at the moment or what. And only my dad would go out to like work.
Yeah.
And me and my sister and my mom, would just stay in the house. We had my grandma with me too, actually.
Mm.
But we would stay like in the house, and I kid you not, for 2 months I did not leave my house.
Yeah.
Like I went to get the newspaper from the front yard, and I would just go in the backyard and throw into we had an old swing set.
Yeah.
We had we just threw a net over a swing set, and that was my backstop. So I was just going from the backyard throwing. I would go inside, and on 11 p.m. every night, I was just up in my room, just grinding abs and core.
That's the part right there, baby.
That was and it was like every night.
Yeah.
Every night I was doing like core work, and I was like just pushing myself. I was like to the brink of like barfing.
Yeah,
like,
that's what. Whenever we were talking about it with Evan, you're like, yeah, dude, I just rip abs until I felt like I was gonna throw up, and then I would go to sleep and do it again the next day.
I'd take a shower, and and that was it. That was my day.
Yeah,
and
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was wild, man. But when I came back that first bullpen in like May, it was another facility over here. I went from being like 90, 91 to I touched like 195 in my life.
Yeah.
Full effort.
Yeah.
And I went from that to, I kid you not, like 94, 96, touched a 98, my first bullpen back.
Holy crap.
And I was like, dude, this machine's got to be broken, man.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way. And I, threw a bullpen like 3 days later, and I was up to 97. I'm like, okay, maybe it's not broken.
Yeah.
Maybe I did something that's, wow, I figured it out. So for me, it's as far as like the velocity stuff, is just, for me, it was just core.
Yeah.
And I would throw in my backyard, but I didn't, I'm not throwing 98 in my backyard.
No.
I don't think.
Yeah.
With my old Academy Jugs bullpen radar gun.
Yeah.
So I just assumed that first bullpen was a fluke. And then I just did it over and over and over again. And what I wanted to go into too is that although I was hitting those like high numbers, I wasn't training as game realistic as I could. And that's another big thing that I try to do here now with y'all, is I try to get very realistic reps.
Yeah.
Because when I was throwing like the 100, it was full like velo grunt, like a tennis player type thing. And in game, it's kind of hard to do that unless you're just a complete psycho and you just super velo grunt every time.
Yeah, we were talking in a meeting up here yesterday, and Trey was relaying to Mo and to Jaden, and they were telling all of us, they were like, we got to make sure that these guys that are, reporting to Indy Ball pretty soon, that their training is game-like as possible. Like, don't take it easy on them. They need game situations, because like the more and more they can get actual, game-like reps, the better it's easier transition it's going to be, because, especially with a big long off season, you get out of that competitive mindset and stuff.
Off-season.
So keep going. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was gonna say what helped me a lot too is when we had all the minor leaguers and a couple major leagues here, that they would step in the box too.
Yeah.
So we would do live at bats, and I think that's like the best thing in the world.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you can throw your pitch and then, hey, did that move? Hey, was that a strike? Did you swing at that? And you get a lot of information from a lot of really good players. Yeah. And
Duke and Huddy were just sitting there like relaying the information back to you.
I had previously played with as well. I played with Hudson at Churchill in high school, and then Duke was my roommate and so
that's so sick.
But having that kind of information just kind of relayed back to you every pitch is it's like fantastic.
And Juan, who was all the way up to AAA, right? And with the Padres. And I mean, he would just say
play with the Missions.
Yeah, he'd be like, hey, if you would have thrown that a pitch before, if you would have started it here, like I would have swung or something like that.
Yeah. Well, another thing too is that I'm throwing a splitter now. I've always struggled with changeups. I can't, my brain just does not comprehend throwing a four-seamer with these fingers for some reason.
Yeah.
So I saw Zane Morehouse actually throw a splitter.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I want to try that.
Mm-hmm. And y'all were teammates too, right? Was he there when you were there?
He was after me.
Oh, he was after you, right after you left?
I think right after I left is when he started.
Yeah.
But I saw him throw a splitter, and I was like, dude, that's nasty. I want to throw that.
And he throws it so hard. You throw yours so hard too.
Oh, I try to throw mine as hard as he does. His is
gross.
Wicked. And I just started trying it out, and I've been doing the finger exercises to try to make it easier for my hand.
Yeah.
But I started throwing that splitter, and I was throwing it to like Duke, throwing it to like Hudson and Chucky, and just getting a lot of good feedback on it. And like that first, what I appreciate Juan doing for me here is I was a little hesitant to throw that splitter to righties. And my first live AB throwing it, I have Chucky in the box. This is my first AB, and I'm like, all right, like this is exciting, right? This dude's been in the majors. This is great. And I go, it's like 1-1 or something like that, and Juan calls a splitter, and I'm like, oh boy, like here we go. Like the last warm up splitter I threw, I kid you not, like hit this back wall. And I was like, dude, I'm
shot out of your fingers.
Yeah, it was a new pitch, so like, and it's just like we're just playing with stuff, trying to see if it works. And I could hit that wall, and I was in my head, I was like, oh man, dude, like Chucky, I'm sorry, my guy. Like this might go behind you. And I mean, I threw a good enough splitter to get a swinging, foul ball. So now that's just an example of me being more comfortable throwing it. But Juan called it, and I was like, thanks, man. Like I needed that that little push.
Yeah, got to get it done right there. That's awesome.
Yeah, I love Juan though.
Yeah, he's so cool. And the dude's feeling his swing right now.
Oh, dude,
feeling it.
He was over at the DST Pro Day like a month ago or so, like maybe 2 months ago. And dude was just barreling balls left and right.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I'm not trying to throw you.
Yeah, that guy can swing it.
Not in front of the scouts.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I'll pitch to you, but I'm not gonna. I don't want you to swing off me, man.
Yeah.
But no, it's cool when you can get a lot of good feedback from dudes, especially like high level dudes.
Yeah, for sure.
They see stuff differently than you. And another thing too is that third person point of view, they see you from like afar versus you kind of trying to feel what you might see. They can actually be like, hey, like I see it clear as day, like you're flying open right there. Or like, hey, your ball is doing this when it should be doing this. Like you might not feel it. Same with, I'd imagine, swinging too. Like,
for sure.
You think you know you're swinging until someone looks at you and points it out on video.
Yeah. And I mean, like Mo, whenever he was working with, our hitters up here, his eye, I mean, of course he's been doing it forever. And like, he's got a pretty good feel for adapting people's swings, and he doesn't just teach one thing to everybody, which I think is beneficial. It's he has his theories and his ideology, but he can adapt it and mold it to whatever swing the hitter comes in with. Obviously, they're good enough to make it to where they are with their swing, but he just makes it better, which is awesome. So you played your fourth year at Fresno State, and then when did you end up getting in the Pecos League?
Yeah, so that's an interesting transition. So Fresno State didn't work out. I actually got let go.
Oh, really?
April. Yeah, it was just a, hey,
I didn't know that.
that's not. I don't know if it's a college thing or not, but it was just a hey, like this ain't working out.
Yeah.
And I was crushed, of course.
Yeah.
But I mean, I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna keep working. I'm gonna keep working, and I got some rhythm back, whatever. And I was talking to some other schools, and I think at that point I could only go like D2, I think.
You just moved back home?
And I came back home,
yeah.
And I was trying to look for stuff, and I talked to one school, and they gave me the idea. They're like, hey, like, if you graduate, you can come to us as a grad transfer. And I was like, oh, that might be a good idea. And I looked into my, credits and, how many semesters it would take. And turns out I was just like, you know what, like, I'm going to try again a little bit later. I'm going to take a little bit of a rest period, but like, I'm just going to get my degree from UT because it's like right up the road. I'm already in like the school, so I can just go back. I didn't know I could do that. I thought I'd have to take like an ACT again or something to readmit myself back into the school. I had no idea. But so for like a year and a half or so, I was just in there lifting weights like all the time. I was just trying to get big, man. And obviously we're not there yet, but for a while I felt big. And I was just doing school, just trying to get like strong. And in like, I don't know, like April or something, my dad sees like I don't know where he said, it was like Facebook or something. He saw a thing about a Pecos League team in Austin, the Austin Weirdos. And he's like, hey, like, you should try this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So I started kind of throwing again. It was pretty late to start throwing. And
Did you take that full like year and a half off?
Oh yeah.
Really?
I barely
You weren't throwing at all? You were just lifting?
Yeah, I was not conditioned to throw.
Wow.
Yeah, I was super out of it. And
Yeah.
so I go to that tryout and I'm expecting like, oh my gosh, this is independent like pro ball, baby. Here we go. Like it's gonna be like 50 dudes here and like we're gonna be competing. And it was so fun. There was like 10 dudes at like a sandlot field. And I was like, what? And I still threw and I hadn't been conditioned and I think my first time up there, it was like 91, 94 in front of like the coach, the manager and like the commissioner. And I was like, okay, like I still got it. My arm hurts like crazy, but I still got it. And I basically just went into that season like cold. I mean, and I could do that once, but like my arm was just like so hurt because I hadn't been conditioned to do that for like a whole like 2 semesters.
Yeah.
So that season goes by. There's some, Pecos League is wild, man. But there's some funny stories. But the second season, right? I found out more about independent ball.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anything about indie ball prior to like that season. Mm-hmm. Like I learned so much in that season, and I didn't even know there were other leagues.
Yeah,
I just assumed it was just minor league, major league.
Yeah,
and like like international leagues. I didn't know that even existed. So after that first season, that first summer, I was like, dude, I'm gonna really, really work myself, and I'm gonna try and go to those tryouts for like Frontier League, American Association, Pioneer. I'm gonna go to those tryouts, and I'm gonna see if they'll pick me up over there. Mm-hmm. And with me being conditioned and like actually ready to throw and be healthy like that, I can like prepare myself. And that's where what was it, December hits. I think it's like December 2022 hits, and I get COVID, and that was like I had no idea how much that would trouble me, I guess, because for what is it? So I get it late December, and then from, I kid you not, like December like 19th, I think is when I did that, and then like to April, May, I was still like having like trouble like breathing.
Oh yeah, we talked about that a little bit. Your breathing was really affected.
Yeah, it was bad. It was scary too. And like I don't
didn't you say that you went to the doctors and they were just saying that like they didn't really know and stuff like that? So that's kind of crazy. Just overcoming that mentally as well.
It was pretty wild because like I said, I went to the doctors, like a few doctors actually too, because it wasn't just my lungs, it was like my heart would start racing. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I've always had a really strong, healthy heart. Yeah. So when you go down a flight of stairs and you're starting to race, it's like, what is up?
Yeah.
Like it's like
on?
3 months after I've had COVID.
Yeah.
And I'm still like having like my heart racing like crazy.
Yeah, that's wild.
And I'm good now, just to be clear. I'm good now. We're perfectly fine now.
Yeah.
But for a while it was scary because I mean, in that moment, and it goes for a lot of other things too. Like you don't know how long it's gonna last.
Yeah.
Like you might see a pickup one day, and then you might kind of fall back down another day, and it's just like a little wave, and you got to ride it out. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of hard to see that light at the end of the tunnel. And for me, I couldn't throw, I couldn't lift, I couldn't go run. Yeah. Like I just like couldn't. Like, I'm not trying to have a heart attack or something on the street and going for a jog, but
So you ended up? Did you because of that? Did you end up missing those tryouts that year?
Yeah, so I missed like the Pioneer tryout, I missed the Frontier tryout. I don't know if I knew about the American Association as much or Atlantic or anything, but I missed those tryouts, the ones I was literally preparing myself for prior to that. And at the time, I was actually doing a youth sports job. Mm-hmm. I was like a commissioner for a like youth sports like league. Mm-hmm. So we ran like flag football, basketball, soccer. T-ball, volleyball, and we were doing all that stuff. Shout out to my I-9 guys. Yeah. But while I was doing that, hiring referees, like high school refs, and they're just kids, right? It's just a league for kids. Yeah. But it would be like, hey, this referee can't make it to your site. Like you're gonna have to ref some soccer. And I'm like, okay, like that's easy. Like I can just like, it's like little kid soccer.
Yeah.
You literally throw the ball in if it goes out of bounds.
Yeah.
So like if it goes behind the net, you just throw it back in the middle of the field and they just go chase it again. But the hard part for me, because I was going through that stuff, is like I would jog to one side of the field and I was like out of breath. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't even keep up with these like 5-year-olds, man. Like they're just going all around me. But so that's like the, you know, dealing with that stuff, and you know, it was a job, and I was in Austin for that. And when I decided, hey, I think I'm like ready to start doing that, I saw some improvement, and I said, hey, I'm ready to get back into it a little bit.
Yeah.
I would go to and then we might have talked about this a little bit too, but I would go to like a sandlot field, like a YMCA field, and I would go throw out there, and I kid you not, like I would throw 7 baseballs at like decent speed, and it was just like my heart was just racing again.
Yeah,
this
was
like
talked about that.
This is like 3 months, 4 months after I had COVID, and I was like, dude, no, this is not it. Like I can't like be missing these tryouts. Like I need this stuff. So I would go out the next day, and I would throw 8 pitches, and then I would go out the next day and go 9 pitches, and the next day I'd get like 14 pitches, and I just kind of through pushing myself through that, like, and it was scary.
Yeah.
Because like at the same time you're also like kind of catch your breath doing that. I would start increasing how much I could do, and this kind of leads into like a really interesting next point in my life. But like because I was going through that stuff and I wasn't sure if I was going to make the tryouts, I was probably going to be back in Pecos League again, and I took on a manager role, like a player manager role, as a 23-year-old. Yeah. And I thought that was wild.
For the same team?
For the same team. Yeah. Yep. And that was even crazier. So during that whole time, you know, I was on there with my buddy, who was like my assistant coach, first baseman, Aaron Cuellar. He was helping me try to recruit guys, and I mean, it was super fun while I was doing it, because that was the most I could do at that point. I couldn't go and try out, so I was like, well, let's do this. Let's go be a manager. Yeah. And I was like getting players, I was getting their information. Hey, like we're thinking to put you here. Like, we can try to find you a host family here. And little do we know there was no host families.
Really?
So I had like 2 dudes like on air mattresses staying with me. Super wild. But for like 12 games we were like a team, my team, at least my team, and we were like 1-11. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's hard to recruit, and every other team has just better resources. Yeah. So I would recruit a guy, and then like another team would scoop him. Yeah. And I can't do anything about that. Yeah. We lasted about 12 games, and we ended up having to become a road team. And that's when I was like, okay, like I'm not going to build another team. I'm not going to like go through this again. I think I'm ready to keep playing.
Yeah, didn't they make you a road team because your field was so bad?
Oh my gosh, yeah, let me get into that, dude. So I don't know what it is with like Austin fields, but like a lot of like the like sandlot fields, I kid you not, like they're like triangles. Yeah. Like there's no like arc in the outfield where it's like 400
the fence just goes straight across.
It literally went straight across. It was like 300 to left and right, and 315 in center. If you can imagine like professionals playing on that. And I remember our first series was against Tucson Saguaros from Arizona, and they had like a whole like affiliated, like former affiliated team. Like I think one dude was like Aaron Judge's like roommate in like minor leagues or something like that. Yeah. And like these dudes just blasting baseballs, and even their flukes that were like little pop-ups to center field usually. Yeah. It was like a 330-foot center field home run shot. Yeah. And I think we lost like 26 to like 4 or something. Like it was, we had a lot of games like that. But
so you ended up becoming a road team only, and then you're deciding to play again.
Yeah, not just manage. So we had a guy from, this is where this connects to, but we had a guy from Lancaster, California, where there's another team, and I guess he got word that there was a team over there. And he's like, hey, like, can I go play with them? Like that's my hometown. Like blah blah blah. Like I have a lot of family over there, and I'm like, dude, like sure, like escape, my guy. Like, go be free. Yeah. And he went over there, and like I don't know, one series later, like 3 games later, That's when they decided to bang the home games, and I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And me and two other guys from the Austin Weirdos managed to get in contact with him, and we actually went over to Lancaster ourselves. So we drove all the way from there just last minute from Austin to Lancaster, California.
Yeah.
And made our way out there, and we had a pretty fun season. Like, got back in. I was more conditioned at that point now. It's been like 5-6 months now, and like I've seen a much better increase as far as like my like health and being able to stay conditioned and throw.
Yeah, for sure.
But it was just interesting seeing how that like all played out. Like,
yeah.
So last minute, and even just like the phone call from the skipper over there. He's a Caribbean dude, Juice. His name is was it? We just skipped or Juice, but
yeah, you called him Juice.
We just called him Juice, but he's got like a Caribbean accent. He's like, "Hey, man, like I need pictures over here, man. Like,
yeah,
I need you now. Like, can you get over here now as fast as possible, man?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, let's do it, man. Like, let's go play in California like last minute." And the experience was cool. They played at an old Astros minor league park.
Really?
So it was a complete difference from. Big change from
Sandlot Field to a minor league
Sandlot to a whole minor league stadium pretty much, and they ran it like one, which was really cool too. But that season goes by, and just with a lot of reps, I was getting in the game a lot, and as like a back end reliever, I started finding myself a little bit more. I was just loading up the zone much better, and that's so end of that season comes whatever. Come back home, and that's when I'm like, well, I want to try again.
Yeah.
Like what I was gonna do the year before I got like COVID and stuff. But so I come home, San Antonio, and I don't know anything about DST. I've only heard like, oh, there's a place called DST.
Yeah.
I honestly thought y'all were like way out in like New Braunfels or something.
Yeah.
Or like somewhere in
outskirts.
Like, some outskirt town. That's what I just assumed it was. And I didn't hear anything of it. So I was trying to get a video of myself, like with my own like phone and like my own like little pocket radar gun. And I was doing like every little. I'm like the worst like photographer ever as far as like getting video or videographer.
Yeah.
Because I would have the pocket radar here and the phone like right behind it.
Yeah.
And then I would throw a pitch and it would hit like the screen and knock the phone over. And it was just like a mess. And I would throw over it. It's like a couple facilities. I would try to do the same thing, but that's when I ran into Jaden Martinez at DBAT.
Yeah.
And I think I was given a lesson over there, and he was like, "No, dude, like I'm a DST. Like, come to DST, man.
Yeah.
Like, we'll take care of you, and it's gonna be a lot better than whatever videos you have there." And I'm like, "All right, like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Like, let's go do that." And I went from having like no catcher, no set place to throw, no like plyo wall.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of like resources that I didn't have to just like they got everything here. Like it's great.
Yeah.
I got a track man. Y'all got stalker radar guns. You got good mounds. Big plyo wall, weight room, good trainers.
Yeah.
Good pitching guys. Like it was.
I remember meeting you the very first day when you came in. You're wearing your Fresno State stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought you were a college player, and I thought you were just like here for Christmas break, and I was like, oh man. I think that I even said like I'm looking forward to seeing you again this summer or something like that, and you looked like real confused. And now that I know you, it's kind of funny. But
oh, dude,
I just remembered like how hype you were about everything because you're talking to Evan. You're like, dude, I can't wait to get in this weight room. I can't wait to do all this. And now seeing from that first day that you walked in to like, I mean, even getting the chance to like catch you, I purposely never stepped in the box against you because I was scared. But I of seeing where you are right now and then seeing you sign and, like we have weekly meetings and then we have meetings with DST in Houston. We have all these these meetings and stuff, and your name always gets brought up in all of them. And, we appreciate like how good of a dude you are and how much work you put in. Obviously that's like
I appreciate
part of your story.
Man. Like I said, I don't know if I get that signature on there without like I'm
Yeah.
not even kidding. Like the video is super crisp. It's got the radar gun board like right behind it.
Yeah.
I mean, even with like Jaden and Trey, just picking out like little tendencies with like my wrist, and now I've found a lot more consistency in like my delivery.
Yeah.
A lot less effort going into it too.
Yeah.
I'm more like tilt, just a lot of little things that like I just like I said earlier, you can't like see this stuff by yourself.
No.
It's hard to actually feel and see something versus like someone looking on from the outside.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think I needed that little like push, that little boost.
Yeah, and then you've even told
insight.
like Evan and I that in the weight room, like sometimes I need like a little push, a little motivation and stuff, and
Yeah.
I respect that.
Mhm.
It's just like you're not saying, and nobody up here whatsoever thinks that you're lazy, but it's like
I hope
we're
not.
not. Yeah, we're not saying that like you don't want it. Like you're literally know yourself and you know how
Yeah.
you are, and you're like, hey, if you push me, I'm gonna get even more out of it. If you push me, I'm gonna do better.
Yeah.
And Evan and I were talking about that, I think the day you told him.
Mhm.
And I was like, heck yeah, dude. I love Nico. Like, I'm going to like get after it with him and I'm going to hype him up and stuff like that. And I can tell like the strength gains that you've made. And I mean, I can tell the consistency on the mound
Yeah.
that's been improving. And, like, I think that that's cool because I definitely, I think myself that I produce better in a team environment and in an
Yeah.
atmosphere where I'm getting pushed, and I think most athletes do. But I think that that's cool that like yourself well enough to be able to say like, hey, help me out with this. Hey, do this for me.
Yeah.
And of course, everybody up here wants to help, so it's
Yeah.
awesome.
And I've had a lot of like ideas because I had good strength and conditioning coaches at UT and Fresno, so I had
Yeah,
like an
obviously, yeah,
idea.
for
I had an
sure.
idea of like what I had to do, but like
Mm.
I couldn't go back and find those like workouts, and I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
trying to
yeah,
find like those stretching routines, mobility routines, and it's comfortable for me to just do like core workout because I know that like worked in the past,
yeah,
and I know there's more in the tank as far as like getting more like fit and getting like translating it to pitching.
mm-hmm.
But a lot of it's just like trust too. So like it at first I was like, I don't know if I want to do like legs before throwing because I don't want to be sore.
Yeah,
But y'all deal with like a bunch of pro athletes all the time. So I'm like, you know what, like I'm gonna do it and I'm gonna stick to it. I'm gonna stick to the plan. And like
yeah,
sure enough, now I'm able to do those workouts and continue growing as I'm throwing these like bullpens.
yeah,
And at like before, I was not comfortable with it at first.
yeah,
I was just like, oh, I'll get my core routine in, and I'll get my abs and
mm-hmm.
planks and stuff, and I'll just stick to that,
Yeah,
and maybe sneak in some squats here and there.
yeah,
But no, I just feel way more like athletic
mm-hmm.
and just sound as like as a baseball player, as a pitcher.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that probably like what you noticed at UT and Fresno with the strength department is the same thing that Evan and I try to recreate. And, that starts from the top with Lee and Kevin and stuff, but in our pro developments. But like if you're moving in the weight room, you're moving with a purpose. And we have periodization lined up for you. We synchronize it with the pitching department. Like we're always keeping your health, your wants, your needs in mind whenever we're programming, and then, I think that that's where a lot of like high school kids mess up.
Mm-hmm.
I literally everybody as a staff up here were like, oh, if only we had this as kids.
Oh yeah, dude.
And it's
The
like,
game is changing.
yeah, I
It's
used to go up
wild.
to school early. And of course I went to like a little 3A school, north of Dallas. And I would like, I would work out. I would go in there and I would like try to deadlift as much as I could, or I'd
Yeah.
try and squat as much as I could or something like that. And I mean, it helps just because getting stronger helps. But actually, if I were to have like a program, if I were to have something
Yeah.
set for me that's like sport specific, and I actually had like real periodization set up, I had real structure, then it could have been completely different. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I think another thing too is just like understanding your body as far as like what you think your best mold is to play at your best.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it's I want to be like strong, but
Yeah.
I don't think for me it's being like too bulky. I don't think that's ever been me.
Yeah.
And that's when I came off that first off season, going into my first indie season, when I was lifting all those weights, right?
Yeah.
I just felt so slow.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't throwing, my arm just did not move.
Yeah.
So after like the first time, I feel like 91, 94, the next one was like 85, 86.
Yeah.
And it's just because that was where my arm was conditioned to be at that moment. Like there was no layback. But I was big, I was strong.
Yeah.
But for me, it didn't like work out the same way, I guess.
Yeah.
So I guess like knowing your body and like just having, like y'all said, y'all coordinate everything with like the pitching guys, and it's all like together. It's like all
mesh for sure.
Mesh is like it's a web.
Mm-hmm.
All connects, but just that kind of stuff like helps so much at any level. If you can connect, like I said, if you can connect that stuff early, like that's why a lot of kids nowadays are throwing super hard and it doesn't look like they're taxing their arm as much as like when we were playing.
There's so many more resources now.
When we were playing, it was like, oh, this kid's throwing hard, but like look how he was throwing hard. He was like throwing his neck out, and then like his arm was like way over here. It was like you could just see like his like UCL just like screaming. Yeah. And now it's like they have so many resources that like the game in 10 years is going to be crazy.
It is going to be crazy. I feel like I don't know. Gosh dang it, I saw. Was it you that was telling me about or was it Gino saying the 100 miles an hour in D1 baseball?
Oh, I was there with you, but
I think Gino said that there's like 8 players already that hit 100 in D1 baseball.
Like that's insane.
It's kind of crazy to think that like even 5 years ago that was like unheard of in college. It's like if you threw 100, then
if you were like you were God.
Yeah,
you were like, who's gonna stop you? You're throwing now it's like I just saw a video of a dude. He just threw a 100-mile-an-hour ball in there, and someone just crushed it. So the hitters are getting better too.
Yeah, I faced 100 in JUCO versus a 30-year-old, which was sick. Yeah, I got hit first pitch, wore it right in the Evo shield, and then next day we actually smoked him. And like one of my best friends on the team, little guy, we've been training like over speed, and of course it's JUCO, so like our facilities aren't like crazy nice or anything, but it was enough, and I loved it. But we like had these hack attack machines on like 7-10 from like 30 feet away, which is insane. It's probably like 120, 130
reaction time. And
and me and my buddy are just like swinging and missing like 80% of the time, and then the other 20% we're just hitting nukes off this machine. And I swear, this is like the first inning. It was either bases loaded or first and second. I forgot what it was, but my buddy just first pitch, like he's like swinging no matter what. He's batting like 8-hole or something like that, and he just takes this guy deep, dude, like the furthest ball ever, and he flips his bat and he turns around. Let's go, baby! And he's running around the bases, and he comes back, and he's like, he doesn't hit for power. He's like 5'5", like little dude. And
that day, dude.
Yeah, that day he did, and it was so cool. But it's just wild that we faced a guy that was 30 that literally came in and threw 100.
That's wild.
Crazy.
But that was junior college?
Yeah, in JUCO. He went to Cisco. He was actually played pro basketball in Puerto Rico for like something stupid, like 10 years or something like that.
I want to know his story.
And yeah, for real. And then, whatever agencies are there, they're like, hey, like you played baseball as a kid too, like why not throw a bullpen? Apparently his first bullpen, he threw like 95 or something like that. And then he ended up working a little bit, got up to 100. Cisco was like, dude, we'll take anybody. We'll take him. And he was gross. I mean, there was like, I swear there was like every MLB team in the stands when we were playing him. But I think he hit 102 versus us. So it was kind of crazy.
How do you even do that? Being a basketball player like your whole
I don't know. He was huge, dude. Yes. He was like 6'8", just a big, I mean, obviously like grown man, just massive individual.
Literal grown man.
Yeah. But playing against 18-year-old kids, it's kind of crazy.
Damn. Hey, but y'all still did good against him.
Yeah, no, we actually I hope he's still playing. I don't wish any bad luck on anybody, but we actually shelled him. It was awesome. Yeah. I got hit first, AB, and then second AB.
You had that Evo show now.
Yeah, for real.
I'd be Batman geared up. Dude.
Yeah. My second AB, I hit just a line shot that went right over his head off of him, and so I was pumped. I was like, oh, just hit 100.
Yeah,
but
I couldn't do it. I would, like I said, I'd be in like Batman gear, like just fully decked out. I would like the Barry Bonds, like big old arm protector. I would for sure be wearing that.
That's my buddy Yuli. That's what he had on. He's like full decked out. But it was crazier. Is
you said Yuli?
Yeah, his name's Ulysses.
What's his last name?
Rodriguez.
Okay. I think I know that one.
Ulysses Rodriguez. He's actually he's a hemophiliac, and so he's a free bleeder. So if he were to get hit, he has to which he was an idiot for not ever bringing a shot with him. But he got hit in practice one day. I hit him. I foul tipped a front toss ball and it hit him in the face, dude. And he literally had to run back to the dorm and give himself a shot so he doesn't have internal bleeding. But we were facing a guy that throws 100 and he didn't have a shot with him. He would have had to run back to the dorms mid-game. He's playing second base.
It was a good luck, dude.
Yeah. He's a great guy, though. He was awesome.
Especially after 100. I mean, I was borderline crying. I hit 85. In the Pecos, you have to swing it for yourself. So
really, no DH.
No DH.
Wow.
And I think it's because pitchers we haven't swung ever.
Yeah.
So we're the ones that break the most bats. Mm-hmm. So when we go buy the bats again, that's the whole deal. But I got hit this summer this past summer in the elbow. I had an elbow guard, thankfully, but I was just I was just literally walking to first base in so much pain. And it was 85.
Give me your best Pecos League story, because you already have the Jackie Moon story down for yourself, owner, player, coach. But give me something crazy.
Okay,
I feel like I can get right there with you, the JUCO.
So I'll start with my favorite one. I think is that. After not swinging since high school, I heard going into the Pecos I'd have to swing for myself. So I was super determined. I'm not going to be that pitcher that strikes out every time.
Yeah,
I'm not going to be that easy out. So I was going and training and swinging. And my first AB is in our park. That first year was actually in left to center, right center. It was actually normal. It's actually pretty far in center field.
Yeah,
it was a neighborhood park, but it was pretty nice actually.
Yeah.
And my first AB, I'm dude, I'm so hyped up. I got adrenaline going. I didn't pitch so well that first 2 innings I was in either. So I was I got to pick up. I got to pick up for myself right here.
Yeah.
And I think I see one fastball in the outside corner, and I'm okay, I saw it. It's not too crazy, right? Next pitch, just cranks one 400 to left center.
No way.
Yeah. I had never hit a ball that hard in my life. And I was still too scared to bat flip and walk out of the box. I ran to first base because I did that once in high school and I got yelled at.
Yeah.
I hit it off the wall and
you bat flipped it.
Yeah.
Bat flipped a double.
I thought I was sick. Yeah. I don't even know if I got a double.
That's hilarious. Trotting down to first base, they bring you laid in.
But it was cool though, because I was dude, oh my gosh, I'm a home run hitter.
Yeah.
What am I doing pitching, bro?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go be. And then the next 12 ABs, I either struck out or flew out the left. I was just hunting that home run again.
Yeah.
And I just could not do it. I was just strictly pop up guy.
Yeah. Did y'all ever have to because y'all didn't have any transportation, right? Did you ever have to just shove 10 players in a car or anything like that?
Yeah. Yeah. There was one time we were going out to we came back from Alpine, West Texas.
Yeah.
And me and my buddy, another pitcher, were trying to get out of the hotel early because we had a game that afternoon. We have to drive ourselves. That's one thing. Pecos, you drive yourself.
Yeah.
And that shows who cares about baseball, who loves it, because you're not driving yourself 6 hours, sometimes more.
Yeah.
Same day to go play at home. And we took off, and it's hot. It's the middle of summer, the desert, and about an hour and a half of leaving early, my buddy's engine just starts smoking, and we're by ourselves, and it's still super sunny. Is and we're oh my gosh, pull over, and we pull over, and the whole point I left with him was so I would have more legroom.
Yeah,
because he was going by himself, so I'd have that whole front seat to myself.
Yeah.
And the way up there, I was crammed into a back seat for 6-7 hours. My legs were pinched in like that.
Yeah.
And So we sat there for like another hour till the other guys showed up because they're like, "Oh, dude,